All right, we're kind of going to do the same thing. We're going to solve for variables, but this time they're going to give you some formulas. Has anybody taken physics in here? I know Daniel, he's not here today, but he's taking physics, right? Nobody else in here is taking physics? Okay, you're taking physics. You have a lot of formulas, don't you? They give you tons of formulas. And then you have to solve for things, don't you? You got to solve for things in that formula. There's a whole bunch of letters, and you have to solve for one of those letters in that formula. And that's what we're doing today. Well, let me just give you a simple formula. It's not a physics formula, but it's a simple formula that we're going to use from time to time. We'll probably have a section, I don't know if it's this chapter or not, we'll have a section where we get into this a little bit more detail. But for right now, I don't really care that you know what all this stuff actually means. All right, it's I equals PRT. This is a very simple, basic formula. It's interest equals principal times rate times time. Anybody heard that one before? Yeah. But I'm not here to teach you all the ins and outs of that. There'll be another lesson to do that. What I'm trying to do is I just want you to be able to solve for something before you put some numbers in here. Is that rain? Yeah. So it's already solved for I, but what if I asked you to solve for something else? What if I asked you to solve for, like, P, the principal? What would you do? Now, there's no numbers here at all, are there? Okay, so we're not just going to get numbers in our answer. Okay, what we're going to do is this. Here's an expression that we use a lot. We say solve for P in terms of the other letters. Okay, solve for P, but you're going to have other letters as part of your answer. So what would you do? So here's I equals PRT. I want to solve for P. I want to get P by itself. So look at the other things that are with the P. What is that R doing to the P? Multiplying. What is the T doing to the P? Multiplying. So what do I do to get rid of stuff that's being multiplied? I divide. That's right. So it's the same process as just regular numbers, except they're letters. But don't letters represent numbers anyway? Yeah. Okay. In algebra, the letters are numbers. So I just divide by an R, and watch, in the same step, I divide by a T. How can I do that? Well, because the R's cancel out and the T's cancel out. But if I do it to the right side, talk to me. I got to what? Got to do it to the left side. That's right. So I do the same thing on the left side. Does it make sense? So the R's cancel out, the T's cancel out, and look what I have left. Now, your answer is not going to be a nice little answer like 5 or -3 or something like that. It's not even going to be as nice as -52/87, like the problem we did earlier. But that's our answer right there. So let's write it real nice. P equals I over RT. And that is your answer right there. Okay, there's no numbers involved in this, are there? Okay, it's just looks like that. Make sense? All right, it's pretty simple stuff. I think it is. Let's let me find another one. Okay, here's another one. This is just as easy. Well, let me find one maybe a little bit tougher for you. Let's do this one. Here's an equation they might give you in geometry. I always hate giving this equation. It's the equation for perimeter, or formula for perimeter. It's twice the length plus twice the width. I never do that. When I say find the perimeter of a rectangle or something like that, I just say find the distance around the thing. Just add up all the sides. I think it's kind of silly to learn a brand new formula, because if you just know that you just add up all the sides, that's all you have to do. But this is what we're going to do. Here's the formula. It doesn't even matter that we know what all that stuff stands for. Okay, they could just be any old random letters. But what we're going to do is we're going to solve for something. Now, it can't just say solve, because I don't know what you're supposed to solve for. I could, well, P's already solved for, isn't it? So they probably won't ask you to solve for P. But I could solve for L, or I could solve for W, right? So they're not just going to say solve. They're going to tell you what to solve for. So they're going to say solve for, in this case, let's say W. All right, so let's solve for W. So let's write the equation down again, because I got that box around it. All right, let's take a look at this. I want to get W by itself. So what's the stuff with the W? Well, you got this 2 and this L and this 2, right? Well, what are you going to get rid of first? This 2 right here? The 2L, that's right. You get rid of the 2L, because the 2L is what's being added to that 2W. You follow me? Remember what I said earlier? I said whatever's being added or subtracted to your variable, that's what you want to try to get rid of first. This 2L, think of it as just one term right here. Don't separate it. It's a 2L. So how do I get rid of that 2L? It's a plus 2L. How do I get rid of a plus 2L? Subtracted 2L, that's right. So I subtracted 2L and I subtracted 2L from this. Let's see what we get. Let's not write it up and down like this. Let's just write it, well, let's go back to white here. Let's write it like this, P minus 2L. Now that canceled, didn't it? Equals what? 2W. And remember what we're trying to solve for. Trying to solve for what? For W. So I got one more step. I can get W by itself. How do I get rid of that 2? Divide by 2. But look what I have to do over here. I got to divide what? Everything by 2. All right? Now, there's two ways you could write this answer. I'm not really sure how they're going to write it. Let me just show you both ways. You could just keep it like that. You could say P minus 2L over 2. That would be all right. W equals that. But sometimes they're going to do this. They might have you simplify this. Look, both of these things are being divided by 2, aren't they? So you could write it like this. P over 2 minus, what's 2L over 2, though? It's just L, because the 2's cancel out, right? So you could write it like that. I'm not really sure. I would be okay if you just left it like that. All right. The book, if I read off answers tomorrow after you do this worksheet, they may write it like that. Okay. Let me do one more thing. It's a little formula, two little formulas, converting from Celsius to Fahrenheit. Now, Arturo, you guys use Celsius all the time, don't you? You guys don't even think about converting from Fahrenheit to Celsius, do you? Everything's in Celsius. Whereas here, most of the time, everything's in Fahrenheit, but every once in a while, you ever drive by one of these bank signs with the temperature on there, one time it'll flash Fahrenheit, and the next time it'll flash Celsius, okay? At home, it probably doesn't do that. If they have a sign that gives a temperature, it probably just says Celsius. Would you agree? Is that right or not? Okay. Yeah, so it just says Celsius. All right, so here it is. C equals, now, I'm not going to make you memorize this. I'll actually give you this formula on the test or quiz. All right, so I'll be kind of nice to you. And then it's over 9. What do you think the C stands for with my little introduction here? Celsius, right, or centigrade. Some people say centigrade, but we'll say Celsius. This is Celsius, and the F obviously is what? It's Fahrenheit, okay? And we usually, here in America, we usually do things in Fahrenheit, okay? But just about every single country in the world measures their temperature in Celsius. Okay, it's kind of funny that I guess we just want to be different. Who knows?
And we were too busy fighting the war when everyone else changed.
Is that right? I don't think that had anything to do with it. All right, so here we go. Is that right? Nah, I doubt it. So let's look at this right here. Let's say, I don't know, what do you think the temperature is today? Like 68 or something like that? Maybe 60. Yeah, let's go 68 degrees. Okay, so outside today, maybe not. It's a little warm outside. It might not be that warm, but let's just say it's 68. That's in Fahrenheit. What do you think they're going to ask you to do? Convert it to what? Celsius. That's right. So which one of these formulas are you going to use? Which one? The left one. Yeah, exactly. Because this will give you an answer in Celsius. So all you do is take that, put that 68 in for the F, right? And then just work it out and find out what Celsius is. It's as easy as that. Plug and chug. So let's see. Celsius equals 5 times Fahrenheit is 68 minus 32. And you can use a calculator on this. C equals 5 times 68 minus 32 is what? 36. Oh, maybe. Yeah, 36. That's over 9. This actually works out kind of nice. You could work this out, or watch this. 9 goes into 36, what? 4 times. So Celsius is 20 degrees. So 20 degrees Celsius. So if you went to Mexico and you visited Arturo and you say, hey, what's the temperature outside? And Arturo says, it's around 20. You know, in your head you might be thinking 20. In Mexico, it never gets to 20 degrees, right, Fahrenheit. In Mexico, does it? It never gets that cold. 20 degrees Fahrenheit, because that's below freezing. You never get below freezing where you live, do you? No. Okay? And that's how you do that, all right? So that's the kind of stuff you're going to do. Now, you could do the same thing here, right? They could give it to you in Celsius, and what do? You multiply it by 9/5, add a 32, and that gives it to you in Fahrenheit. Don't leave. You got to get a worksheet.